Okay, guys, welcome to Forte and Goal. I just want to first start this video by saying, hey, I know it's week 6, and you all might say, well, sure, go ahead and make predictions about the NFC records, but hey, listen, I got a life. I'm not making money here with these videos. This is all for fun. So I hope you guys enjoy. And let's see how good my football acumen really is. Okay, I already did my AFC predictions. You can see that in the previous video, and today I'm going to do the NFC predictions. This is before the game 6 games happen, so just to give you exact up to date. So very interesting, and I'm going to be very honest. The same thing I did with the predictions for the AFC is I'm going to do my best to be very honest about my predictions and what they would have looked like if we did these predictions at the beginning of the season before any games. Let's start off with the NFC South, okay? Because most people have this as a foregone conclusion that Tom Brady and Tampa Bay will win the division. To be honest, I felt like the Saints were also sneaky good and could steal the division. I figured if Jameis Winston changed his ways and they got some of the players that they did, I really liked the drafting of Chris Olave, and so far this season he has produced. I like the guy because he's talented and he's a speed demon. So it's the kind of receiver that I would like Dallas to have gotten, to be honest with you, because I feel like we're lacking a full-size speed receiver. We do have now Turpentine, Cowboys do, but he's like small. He is diminutive, but he's great on those kickoffs and punt returns. So back to the NFC South, excuse me, yeah, I did believe that the Saints could steal it. Getting Baker, the Panthers, I felt like, okay, maybe a little upgrade from Donald. I keep saying that. Doesn't sound right. Sam Donald, yeah, Sam Donald. Sounds wrong. But anyway, an upgrade from him, the ex-Giant. Ex-Jet. The other NFC team, the Falcons, I think unlike some people, I felt like, look, this team with Mariota could be okay, because I don't think badly of Mariota. I think Mariota is he's been a backup now for like 2 years or so, maybe I think it's 2 years, and honestly, I feel like he's a pretty good quarterback, and so far this season he's doing it. What I'm really surprised about is I didn't know this kid had so much mobility. I saw him in a couple of games moving, and I was shocked that he looked like he was moving really fast. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised. I never saw Mariota move quite this fast before. So here would have been my predictions. I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have won the division, because I feel like there's a little bit of a conspiracy. I feel like they had to win it. There'd be too many favorable calls, and so far there's been a couple. But I don't think they're the powerhouse team that people think they are. Never did. Did not think so. Not at all. And then when the injuries came, forget it. I mean, coming into the season, we knew that that Godwin might be a question mark. So that was already present. In my opinion, this is a team that would win 12 to 13 games. So I'm gonna err on the lower side, because I saw their schedule. They looked like they were facing some pretty tough teams. So I'm gonna say 12-5. Tampa Bay would win the division, the NFC South. I think that the Saints would have snuck up on them. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I would have thought that they would. But I'm gonna say 10-7, and I think that probably the Panthers and the Falcons would have had about the same record, and I might even give the advantage to Falcons. So I'm going to say the Falcons would win 5 games, 5-12, and I'm going to give the Panthers 4 and was that 13? So 4-13. So that sounds terrible, by the way. 4-13. Wow. But yeah, that's where I would put them. So that's the NFC South, and obviously that makes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one of the playoff teams. The next would be the NFC. Let's do the NFC East, which of course I love to talk about because my Cowboys are there. So the big talk about the NFC East is, NFC East, East has never had a repeat winner for, 2000, I think it was 7? I think it was 2007. It's been a number of years. Now, and the last team to do it was the Eagles with Andy Reid as the coach. So now, coming into the season with Dak, I felt really good about it. The only thing is I do love the offseason that the Eagles had. I hate to say it, but Howie did come through this time around. Howie's funny. Roseman, the GM. He's had up years, down years as far as how well he's done. Sometimes he's looked incompetent. Other times he's looked good. This is one of those really good times. I mean, they picked up a ton of free agents. A lot of them are talented guys. They really upgraded, in areas that they needed to finally address. They even got themselves a center for the future, because I wondered about that with Jason Kelsey. He's getting a little older, and he talked about retirement, a couple of years now. So yeah, I really was wondering about that, and here they are with a very strong roster. Then you look at the Commanders, and they got Wentz, and everybody's familiar with Wentz, but I think by now we kind of know who Wentz is as a quarterback. I mean, this is a guy who has the physical talents, is a genuinely good dude. Maybe not the best leader, but he tries, and he's a good character guy. But when it comes to playing ball, he has a little bit of this reputation as trying to play hero ball, get it all done himself. I think the issue with Wentz is that, look, he knows that he feels the pressure. He feels the pressure, and he tries to make the tough plays because he feels the pressure to come through and not fail. So what we've seen from him is that he can play games, play really well, but he makes critical mistakes. He turns the ball over a little too much. He's been injury prone in the past. So far, like last season, he was healthy. I think mostly healthy. So far this season, he is who we thought he was. That's what Washington is finding out. So anyway, that's the Washington Commanders, and then you have the Giants. And the Giants, I would have been shocked. I would have put them in the same boat as Washington, but they are playing some good ball, and a lot of that has to do with Dable. I mean, Dable, I knew was an upgrade. At least I felt he was, and so far he's been fantastic for them. So the Giants are looking good. So my beginning of the season prediction is I do think that the Cowboys are a 12-13 team, a 13-win season. This is a 12-13-win team. I knew we had question marks. I wondered about the O-line. I wondered about the rest of the D-line. I wondered about how good we can hold up on the back end, cornerback-wise, aside from Diggs. And I want to see Zeke establish himself again, because I do think that the guy's put in the work. He is able to electrify. He is able to break off big plays. He has the suddenness, and he has the escapability and the moves, the vision, and he does it all. He can catch, he can block. He's an all-round great back, and I just want to see him get back to the point where he's breaking off big runs, getting 100-yard games, and shutting people up. We haven't seen too much of that this season, but he has been solid. He has been steady. The electric plays have almost all been by Pollard, but we did see Zeke break off a couple of nice runs, and He is slowly quieting people. He is slowly bringing a few people around. Anyway, so I would have said, look, the Cowboys and the Eagles are probably going to finish with about the same record. But the Cowboys would edge because of the division record. So I'm going to stick with that. I think that the Cowboys are capable of winning, I would say 13 games. And then they would win the division. And the Eagles would probably win 13 games too. And by the way, if you haven't seen the Eagles schedule, you have to look at it. It is amazing how easy this schedule is. People say the Cowboys have the easiest schedule, tied with Washington. I don't know how the Eagles don't, because every game that they're even being challenged is at home. How in the world did this happen? So anyway, the two of them have 13 wins, 4 losses. I would have picked the Giants probably. I'm going to say the Giants. I wouldn't have picked them to win a lot of games. I'm going to say the Giants win 6 games and they lose 11. So 6-11. I would have probably said Washington is a little bit below. Let's go 5-12, and that's your NFC East. The next division, we're going to do the NFC North, and the NFC North is actually, I think, pretty easy. Most people would say, oh yeah, it's the Packers division to lose and so on. And I really didn't have a lot of faith in Minnesota. There were a lot of people that were pretty high on Minnesota. I really wasn't one of them. Then you got the Bears, and you have the Lions. I really like the Lions head coach. Dan Campbell is inspiring. He's a good coach. I think he's going to bring that team to respectability very soon. And he's having another one of those seasons where just so close. The Bears, I really am sad for Chicago Bear fans because I like Eberflus. He's a former coordinator for Dallas. He former coach with Indianapolis. I mean, he is a talented coach. Whether he is up for this head coach role with this team remains to be seen. We will see. They lost a lot of talent, and I was really concerned. To be honest, I probably would have taken the Lions slightly over the Bears. I like Justin Fields. I like him. I like that he's mobile. I like that he's got a lot of heart. I like the kid, and I hope that they start to have some success. But right now, I feel like this team needs to do a serious reboot to get back to winning. And I mean, this season here might be a throwaway season for the Chicago fans, based on what we're seeing so far. But I'm going to put the Chicago Bears in the basement. I'm going to take the Lions just above it. I'm going to say that the Bears are able to win 4 games, and they would lose 13. I'll say that the Lions win 5 games is what I probably would have said at the beginning of the season. If you're talking now, I probably would say they're going to win 6 games, maybe 7. But I'm going to go 5, and then they would lose 12. I think the Vikings, they have the talent, but I'm a little concerned about them winning the division because they have to beat the Green Bay Packers a couple of times, or at least once. Well, lo and behold, they've done it once so far. It was a shocker, right? But like I said, I'm not really a big believer. I wasn't sure. But the team is looking fairly good right now. But the Packers are still dangerous. Even though they don't have the Devontae Adams and Rodgers, they still have a pretty good team in Aaron Rodgers. They still have the ability to blow teams out. I do think that this is a year that Minnesota can win it. Now I say that. In the beginning of the season, I probably would have said no, they barely miss. So I'm going to say that the Minnesota Vikings would have finished with a 11-6 season, and that the Packers don't win their 13 games like they've done a few times, or even 14 games. No, I think this is more like an 11 or 12 win season. And because of the loss of Devontae, I probably would say 11 and 6, and it would be a tie record. They'd probably win in the division. So I would say Green Bay wins the division, 11 games. Then we go to the West. Now here's really funny. NFC West. So many people are high on San Francisco. I was not. I still am not. Look, I love Shanahan. He's a great coach. I love some of the other coaches they have. I love some of the talent they've got on their roster. I like that they picked up Charvarius Ward, from KC. By the way, he's an ex-Cowboy, and we let him get away. But I do like him, and I do, like I said, like some of the talent on this roster. But what I don't like is the quarterback situation. And coming into the season, you had Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a rookie. Based on what I say rookie, second year, but essentially a rookie. And coming into the season, the little sample size that we had seen of him, I wasn't sold. Look, I think he's got the physical talents and he can run the ball, but he's young. He has a lot to learn. And I'm sorry, I'm not ready to say, he's an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay? And he's going to be the guy that takes them to the promised land. I was not ready to say that. Okay, now does he add a dimension to their running game, which is what they live and die by? Yeah, he does. And in that regard, I think, he helps the team. But eventually you got to pass. And this is where I think, no, he can't be counted on. So I really wasn't high on the Niners. The Seattle Seahawks, I thought they were down, really down. No quarterback situation. I couldn't believe when they named Geno Smith the starter. That was a shock, and lo and behold, he's doing a good job so far. So that's a shocker. Then you've got the reigning Super Bowl champs. You got the Rams, and the Rams they lost a couple of guys, and I don't believe that this is a team that was destined to repeat or get back to the Super Bowl or anything. Especially with the changes. And I also don't subscribe to what they're doing as far as their general management with the way they've given away picks. I don't subscribe to that. I think that eventually will bite you in the behind, and I think this is the year that it's happening. So I was not so high on them. But I do like McVay, and I probably would have given them the edge to win the division, but not by much. I think they would have won. I think this season I would have put them down for winning 11 games, and they would finish 11 and 6. I think I would have put the Niners at about maybe 10 games, so 10 and 7, or even 9. I would say 9. I said 10 and 7. I would say 9 and 8. I think 9 and 8 is more realistic for what I would have thought. So let's go 9 and 8. And then I would have probably ended up going with the Cardinals. I almost forgot them. I was wondering what was going on. So I'm not a big believer in Kyler Murray. I feel like they're I feel like the Cardinals, they lost a few guys. Everybody has, but they lost a few guys, and they had the suspension with D-Hop. I'm not a big believer on that team. I'm not a big believer in Cliff Kingsbury. Anyway, I'm not a big believer in this guy. I would probably have put them maybe just a tad above Seattle. I'd have had Seattle. Okay, so then let's go third place. Third place would have been the Cardinals. Cardinals, I would have probably put them at, I'm going to say 9 and 8. Say 9 and 8. But they would have had a worse record than the Niners. And then last but not least, pulling up the rear, I would have said Seattle. And again, I would not have thought that Geno would come through, would not have thought that this team could play so well. But, here we are. So that is what the NFC would look like. Oh, and Seattle would probably finish with, I had them probably going 5 and 12. So, 5 and 12. So this is what I got. I've got the 4 playoff teams, and then The three other playoff teams would have been the Eagles, would have been the Vikings, and would have been the sort of Vikings, the Eagles, and I probably would have said the Saints or the Niners. So Saints or Niners. I'm going to go Saints on this one because, like I said, I didn't really think if they went the whole season with Trey Lance, which obviously is not going to happen. That's my playoff teams from the NFC. That's how it finishes. And again, we're looking at 13 wins from the NFC East, Dallas Cowboys, as well as the Philadelphia Buzzards. So that's my NFC East. NFC Conference predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let's see how it comes out. And again, I tried to be honest, right? Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care.